awakening the Zodiac from like his grave? Or where? Because I'm pretty sure this guy's like old as shit and like dead. Welcome back, guys. I just watched the movie Awakening the Zodiac, and like the title says, it's about the Zodiac killer and he's back. Or is he? So the movie revolves around this like discovery of these old film reels, and in these old like tapes or whatever, we have evidence of the Zodiac killer killing his victims. From the start of the film, and also with the title of the movie itself, you know, there's that hard task of like the viewer kind of like believing that the Zodiac killer is still alive, and also that the Zodiac killer would have recorded his own killings. Like, you know, why would he even do that? Like, you know, I feel like there was no evidence back in the day, because I've actually watched documentaries and like read into like the whole story of the Zodiac killer, and to me it didn't make sense. But once you get over all that stuff, you'll be okay to watch the movie. So the beginning of the movie kind of sets us up to believe that, you know, the Zodiac killer actually did use like film to record his like killings. And in a way, it was pretty cool in a messed up way. But I did like that fact about the movie. Now, the person that discovers the reel is Harvey, this old guy, and he needs help, obviously, trying to find out who the Zodiac killer is, because apparently they have reopened the case, which I think is true, and there's also a $100,000 reward for any like evidence leading up to the arrest. Now, that itself was pretty awesome. I think that like $100,000 is like a lot of money. Who wouldn't want that, right? So he gets some help from Mick and Zoe, who live in a trailer. Like Zoe like cuts hair, I believe, and then Mick's like cutting grass, you know, like every once in a while to get the money. So they definitely need cash. Now, this movie is called a mystery thriller, I would say, but at the same time, like, there's not really a whole lot of mystery in it, because the movie's pretty predictable from beginning to end for me. And then throughout the movie, there's a couple revelations here and there that works and then don't work for me, especially the ending of the movie just kind of threw like my belief out the window, because it just didn't make sense to me. I feel like they should have ended it like with the previous scene before the very end, if that even makes sense. I'll probably like spoil the movie like in the minute or so I'll throw a warning. But what I really liked about this movie was that it was pretty quick with everything, and it was kind of short. And also the three characters that were in the movie, Harvey, Mick, and Zoe, were really good. Zoe at some points was a little bit over the top, and sometimes I felt like she was just like overdoing so many of her lines, and I was just like, okay, like she needs to like calm down. But overall, I think those three worked pretty well in like investigating, you know, who this person is. Now, the whole movie is about, you know, finding this tape. You know, how are they gonna find it? Like, how are they gonna prove that, you know, the Zodiac killer is in that town, or who he really is? And that's where the movie like really shines for me, because it's really fun trying to watch him like investigate like these different places and like these people that they go through. And also there's like that whole conflict of like, you know, whether we can trust Harvey or we can trust Mick, because, you know, they're splitting the money 50-50. Aside from the beginning of the movie and the setup, I really liked part where they decipher the letters and stuff like that, similar to that of the Zodiac movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. I really liked that one, and I think that was probably like my favorite movie of 2007, I believe. But this one doesn't come to that level, but at the same time it's very interesting to watch, especially when they're tackling on the Zodiac killer. Another thing that this movie did for me was that, you know, after watching this, I kind of went out of my way to like look up the Zodiac killer himself. And I've already watched like documentaries before, but I did want to do a little bit more digging, because I went to the actual Zodiac killer website and I kind of looked up like different things that he's done, or, you know, who the suspects and like victims were. So at least that movie did that for me. The ending, I really didn't like it, because in a way I felt like it was really predictable, and then when I did come to light, I was just like, why? So it kind of ruined the last scene for me. So I'm gonna talk about spoilers briefly, some of the things that I really didn't like in the movie. So I'm gonna give you my rating for the movie, which is a 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. So spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and you do want to watch it, then here's your warning. So the one thing that I didn't like about the movie was the Zodiac killer himself. We do see him, you know, he's coming out of nowhere, and at the same time it's like he just kind of pops up here and there, and like he's not really like leaving threats. And then when we finally get the whole reveal about him, you know, he explains, you know, why he's been missing, you know, why he retired or whatever, and then we actually get to see the face of the Zodiac killer. And I was just like, oh man, I wish they wouldn't have done that, because it would have kept us in mystery, you know, as to who he really was. Because when they reveal his face, he does not look like anything that he would look like if he was like super old. Like, he actually looked like he was in his 60s or something, and I was like, okay, no. Now then, towards the very end, there's the scene where, you know, he takes Zoe captive, and then Mick has to go rescue her and shoots him in the neck. It wasn't very clear whether or not like he died or he was arrested, but there's like a scene at the very end of the movie, like I think like 10 seconds before the movie ends, like Mick goes outside to like fix a light or something. He goes missing, and then out of nowhere, like the boot of the Zodiac killer steps in. So I was just like, Like, did he just not die or get arrested? Like, how is that possible? And that's where I had like a big issue with the movie, because it just didn't make sense to me. That was my quick spoiler. But yeah, I didn't have high expectations of the movie. I did have fun watching it overall, just not like a lot. Like I said, you know, Zodiac, the movie, was way better than this. It obviously had a better budget and better actors in it, but it's still a good movie to watch if you have like nothing to do. And if you're into like thrillers and stuff like that, then this might be a good one to check out. But yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on the Zodiac Killer? You know, who do you think he truly is? Like, you have any like leads, or you know, have you actually digged into the story yourself? Because it's really interesting, you know, that he never got caught. Like, you know, do you think he's still alive like the movie says, or you know, is he long gone and dead? Also, if you guys have watched the movie, you know, let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments down below. Also, if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you can like receive notifications whenever I post new stuff. But as always, guys, stay tuned.